Assalamu alaikum. Muhammad's Sunday Lectures, brought to you by the Nation of Islam, Muhammad's Temple Unite. This Sunday's lecture will be brought to you by Brother Secretary Daniel Shabazz. Assalamu alaikum. As always, we are taught to open our meetings in prayer. So at this time, I ask everyone to stand in the position of prayer. For those of you who are tuning in for your very first time, here at Muhammad's Temple of Islam, we are taught to pray in this manner, with our heels touching at a 45-degree angle, standing erect, with our hands extended as if we're receiving a gift, our heads slightly bowed, and our eyes closed to this wicked world. For those of you who know the prayer, say along with me. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, all praise is due to Allah, the Lord of all the worlds, the Beneficent, the Most Merciful, Master and Savior of this day of judgment in which we now live. To Thee alone do we serve, and to Thee alone do we beseech for Thine aid. O Allah, guide us along the right path, the path of those upon whom Thou hast bestowed favor, and not on the path of those upon whom Thy wrath is brought down, nor of those who have gone astray. Ameen. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, all praise is due to Allah, the one God, Master Farad Muhammad. We can never give him enough praise and worship and thanks for coming into person and raising in our midst the divine leader and teacher, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. To Allah and his messenger do we submit, and I greet each and every one of you in those two great men's name, in our greeting words of peace and paradise of Assalamu alaikum. My name is Brother Daniel Shabazz, and I'm just your brother, here to help deliver to you the truth that was brought to us by our leader, teacher, and guide, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, from Almighty God, Allah himself. Now, today, we're going to have a lot to talk about. So I'm going to try to get straight to the point, but I always like to get those of you who are in attendance for your very first time, I would like to get you familiar with Muhammad's Temple and how our meetings are conducted. Here at Muhammad's Temple of Islam, if you notice, we are not like the church house. You don't see any choir or no band, tambourines, musical instruments. You don't see all of that. Because here at Muhammad's Temple of Islam, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us that those musical instruments would only be a distraction. It would distract you and take your mind and focus away from what you're there for, what you're here for, and that's to hear the truth. We're only here to deliver you the truth. We're not here to entertain you. We're here to teach and train you. That's what the Muhammad's Temple is designed for. It's a school where you come and learn. Being that we don't know the knowledge of self, the knowledge of God, and the knowledge of the devil, we had to be taught these things. So Muhammad's Temple of Islam is a place of learning, and it's set up as a classroom. We don't allow any devices inside our meetings that will cause a disruption or to interrupt our meetings. Now, the reason why we don't have, as I stated, we don't have the musical instruments. It's not that we hate music. Muslims don't hate music. We understand that we are the creators of music. That right? The black man and woman are rhythmic people by nature. So it's not that we hate music. This is just not a place for it. There's a place and a time for everything. And here at Muhammad's Temple of Islam, you're here to learn. Now, another thing you may notice is we have a search procedure. The search procedure is not to offend anyone or to put fear into anyone. It's only to protect each and every one of us in the meeting. And it's also to keep all the distractions outside of our meeting. We don't allow, again, any devices that will interrupt or cause a nuisance or disturbance in our meetings. And with that being said, brothers and sisters, I would like to before I begin my lecture, let me say this. Here at Muhammad's Temple of Islam, you'll also notice we don't pass around the collection plate 2-3 times because we're not here to rob our people from their hard-earned money. We're not interested in taking our people's money. But we do collect donations because we also understand it takes money in order to run a nation and to function a nation. See, we don't get outside help from the government, the city, or the state. They won't give us that type of help like they give the churches. The churches get 2-3 checks a month on top of all the donations. And what do they do with your money? We're not here to rob our people. We do ask a donation to help us run our temples, to also help us help you. We want to take our hard-earned money and make that money work for us. And when I say us, I'm speaking about you and I, our people as a whole. And if you study the Honorable Elijah Muhammad in the Nation of Islam, that's exactly what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad did with our pennies, nickels, and dimes. He turned it over to the hands of the people by building something for the people. He provided business opportunities, employment, bought farmland to produce food to feed our people at the lowest price. He didn't overcharge our people. He gave it to us at the lowest price. He went overseas, got fish, imported. He was exporting goods as well, shipping companies, packing manufacturing companies. All of this for you and I. Because in order for us to be recognized as a nation, we must have what all nations, other nations have. Is that right? So the Honorable Elijah Muhammad went to work, and he worked hard day and night for you and I. So we are most grateful to Allah for the Honorable Elijah Muhammad because it was his hard work that got us to where we are today. And if it were not for a few bad rotten apples, we'd be in a better place today than we are now. And I'm not going to discuss that at this moment, but we will talk about that soon. I want to thank each and every one of you for attending today, because we know that there are other places that you could be, but you are here with us, and we are thankful to have you. Again, my name is Brother Daniel Shabazz, located in the Phoenix area, Muhammad's Temple number 32, which we are in the process of rebuilding. So if you are in the Phoenix area or a surrounding area and would like to learn more or to reclaim your own, or you would like to come and unite and help us help our people, then we invite you to come. You can contact me directly through the number that will be provided at the end of the lecture. So stay tuned. After the last prayer, the closing prayer, we will have information that will come on at the end of the broadcast. So stay tuned to the end of the broadcast to get that information. So here at Muhammad's Temple of Islam, we like to ask a few questions for those that come in attendance for their very first time. I'd like to ask you, or maybe you should ask yourself, why are you here? Why are you here today? Is it because you're looking for a change? You're here for the truth, is that right? Or is it because you're looking for a change in your condition? Or are you here looking for a change in your people's condition, your family's condition? Huh? Well, brothers and sisters, if change is what you're looking for, you are in the right place. Because our whole mission is to offer our people the truth that will change them, that will change you if you only accept it. Islam is offered to us. Allah came to offer Islam to us, not force us into being Muslims or submitting. It's offered to us on our own acceptance of the truth. I was not forced to be a Muslim. Nobody forced me. I accepted Islam on my own by doing research and finding out that this was the truth. That was the undeniable truth. And any man or woman in their right mind will agree once you study Islam. So we invite you to come. Come back. For those of you in attendance today, we want you to keep coming, because what you're going to hear today is going to be the truth. And there's so much to teach you. We can't teach you all to you in one lecture. There is a lot to learn, brothers and sisters. We have classes on these subjects that takes a lot of study. So we want you to come in and be a part of the studying of the material that was brought to us by God himself, given to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad to deliver to us. And we have those among us that are qualified to teach and train our men and women. We have classes for our men to teach and train men how to be men and to be stronger as men, to strengthen us, to build a unity, a brotherhood called the FOI, Fruit of Islam. Today I won't go over that, but if you are interested and would like to learn more about the FOI, which is the military training of men in Islam who belong to Islam, we want you to contact us as soon as you can. We always like to warn our people, you should be running to Islam in this time. So we also have something for our sisters. We are getting our MGT and GCC classes prepared for our sisters. So if you're a sister out there interested in Islam, contact us so we can point you in the right direction. We have ministers all across the country, or someone in position to help you in certain areas across the country. So if you contact us, let us know where you're at. You don't have to be here in Arizona. You don't have to be You can be anywhere. We will point you or direct you into the right direction. We also have an online class for brothers who are in the area that there is no temple. So we invite you to come and join the brotherhood. Learn what it's about. Come at least hear it for yourself. If it's your first time, we're not asking you to become Muslims right away, even though it's your nature, which we'll get into that. But we want you to come at least hear it for your own self. Don't listen to a lot of these guys on YouTube who hate Islam teach you about Islam. Many of them have never even stepped foot in a Muhammad's temple, but they want to tell you about Islam. Or you have some rebellious ex-member who may have got excommunicated or lost his title or position and got removed, who's disgruntled, want to tell you about Islam. Brothers and sisters, I encourage you, out of anything you study, do your own research. Find out for yourself. Don't lean on one person's opinion of a thing for you to accept it. Now, brothers and sisters, for you who are attending this lecture today for your very first time, I want you to know that what you're going to hear today is the truth. And sometimes the truth hurts. So you may hear something that may sound offensive, but I want you to rest assured we're not here to offend you. We ask that you keep an open mind, because sometimes hearing the truth about something you believe in for so long, it hurts. But you got to understand, sometimes we need that pain. What is pain? Pain is an indicator that something is wrong. Is that right? Your body sends pain in an area that is troubled, that has something going on in it. Is that right? So the pain indicates that something's wrong. A lot of times when you're hearing the truth, it hurts. But that pain is letting you know that you are in error. Somebody's telling you the truth about you. It may offend you, but it's the truth. If you have a bad odor and you smell a little tart, forgive my expression, but if you have a smelly scent to you, and somebody tells you, say, "Hey, brother, you're smelling a little tart," it may sound offensive to you. Is that right? But it's the truth. The brother is telling you the truth, and it's the truth. A person that tell you the truth is normally a person that loves you. You got to have love for a person to tell them the truth about themselves. Is that right? Because if you didn't love them, you wouldn't care to tell them. You ain't going to tell them. Just like your mother or your father. Your mother going to tell you the truth, even when it hurts your feelings. But she's telling you out of love, because she loves you and she wants to see you doing better. Is that right? Well, here at Muhammad's Temple of Islam, we are here with the truth to get to you. And some of this truth gonna hurt your feelings, brothers and sisters. So we want you to have an open mind when you're hearing what we have to tell you today. So at this time, I'm gonna begin my lecture. And my lecture is titled, "What Black People Need to Know." See, today, we're in a time where we're trying to find ourselves. Is that right? Look around. When you see our people, we're going in all different type of directions because we're searching, trying to find an identity. We've been here. We're a people that have been in America for over 400 years who have lost our identity. And we're coming to a point where we're waking up. And it's not by chance or coincidence. Everything is happening for a reason. With all of the things happening in the world, it's causing us to have an awakening. Whether we know it or not, or realize it or not, we're having an awakening. And it's causing us to go and search for ourselves because we're starting to see, hey, I belong somewhere. We're starting to feel like we belong somewhere. We no longer Negroes, niggas, and coons, and all of the slanderous names that they called us. Is that right? We're starting to wake up. Many of our people are going and following the blind. You see the blind leading the blind today. Now, what our black people need to know today? Black people need to know a knowledge of self. Considering all that I just said, we're in search of ourselves. Is that right? Some of us are looking in the East. We're looking at Africa. We look at the pyramids. We see Egypt. We see all of the history that comes with that. And we can identify ourselves with that history. Is that right? We connecting dots. Say, hey, those people look like us. We know we come from overseas. Many of our people came over here on a boat. Some of our people, our brothers and sisters, were already here. But many of us came from overseas on that boat. I know today many like to deny the truth. They say that you hear some people say we didn't come over here on no boat. They try to go into a real deep way of trying to prove their points. But history teaches us we did. It's not a secret. We know. They know. People overseas know. The world knows. So here we are trying to find an identity of ourselves. We're going into everything. Now we are out here calling ourselves Hebrew Israelites. I want us to really think about what it is we're doing. We are not Hebrew Israelites. We are not. For one, we have to understand what is an Israelite. Or what is an Israelite? For those of you who are in search of yourself, I want you to look it up. Where did the word Israel come from? Israel came from Jacob, who is known as Yaqub, but Jacob in the Bible. Jacob was given the name Israel for him wrestling with an angel. Is that right? Jacob wrestled with an angel. See, and you can find this in Genesis. Let's see if I got it marked for you today. And I apologize. I don't have it marked for you, but you can find it in Genesis. Okay? Where Jacob, Yaqub, wrestled with an angel. And he forced the angel to do his will. Now, we all know what an angel is. An angel is someone who does the will of God. Angels are considered perfect. They don't sin. Is that right? They only do what God tells them, commands them to do. Is that right? But here you got a man named Jacob who wrestled with the angel and made him submit to him. Ask yourself this: what kind of man would do that? First of all, what kind of man would go against God's angel? Going against God's angel is just like going against God. Is that right? Think about it. Think this over. If he went against the angel and wrestled with him and made him submit to him, what kind of man would do that? Is he a righteous man for that? It's not righteous to force yourself on anybody. How you going to force somebody to do something and then say you are righteous? So the name was given to him because of that. So that tells you it wasn't a righteous name. And here we are calling ourselves the children of Israel. I want you all to understand something. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that this book, the Bible, He referred to it as the poison book. Why the poison book, Brother Daniel? Because it has been tampered with. It has been mixed and diluted with falsehood. There is some truth in it. He said there is some truth in it. However, it has been mixed with falsehood. And this is why you have so many contradictions in this book. If God is not the author of confusion, then explain this book to me. This is a confusing book. And every one of you, if you're honest with yourself, you will bear witness to that this book is confusing. You can't be honest with yourself and say that this is not a confusing book. And we have to go back to the saying, God is not the author of confusion. That right? So this proves that this book is poison. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad was right. Let's put a check by that. Okay? If he was right about that, then he goes into teaching us about how the book was changed. See, he said that the white man took the Bible and changed the names in the Bible to hide the true names and meanings of the Bible. He did that to hide the truth from you and I. It was to deceive us. So when we see the name Israel in the Bible, it's not talking about a race of people or a nationality. Israel is not a nationality. It is a name given to Jacob for what he done. So what these wise and wickedly wise men who changed this book, who went in and altered this book did, they took the names and placed them in places to confuse us. So when we see the children of Israel mentioned as the children of God being the children of Israel, they did that to confuse us. Now that you know what Israel's true meaning is, and you know it wasn't a righteous name, and we going around calling ourselves Hebrew Israelites. And we believe this book wholeheartedly, with no proof. No proof. The Hebrew Israelites do not believe in history. You can't believe in history and say that this book is 100% correct, because the stories in this book are allegorical. These are prophecies. These stories never happened, but they're telling you a story about what was to come. There was never a flood where rain 40 days and 40 nights ever recorded where it destroyed the whole earth. Ever. Go find that in history. You'll never find it. We got thousands of years of history. Date way back beyond this book. They go way further than this book. But you won't find a history of the whole entire earth flooding. There is none. Go look and study any place in Africa history. You won't find it. Go into Russia, study all the history. You won't find it. Go all over the world. You won't find it, because it never happened. The flood represented something. It was symbolic. As the Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us, that this book is symbolic. There's symbols in here that are symbolic and represent something else. Water represented something else. So, brothers and sisters, we need to know this. There's a lot more to cover on that subject, but I have a lot to talk about today, so I won't be able to go through everything on this today. But I want you to understand, this is something that we need to know. We need to know this, because we have been lost in this book. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us that we must go into this book to pull our people out, because this is where they lost at, in this book. They believe this wholeheartedly. And brothers and sisters, I want to tell you something, share something with you. I used to be a Christian myself. At one point in time, I grew up in a Christian home. At one point in time, I would get on my knees and pray to Jesus, just like each and every one of you who are Christian. Now, we must understand that where do we get that? I know how most of us got it handed down generation after generation after generation in our family. Is that right? However, no one in our family ever proved what they were teaching us. For example, where did we get this? Who gave us this? And who told us that this is the word of God? Because when I look, it say Holy Bible, but it say King James. It say let me find where it speaks on. It says the Old and New Testament translated out of the original tongues and written, and with the former translations diligently compared and revised. That's important. That's important to know. It was revised. Go study that word, revised. Now, authorized King James Version. This tells me this is King James Version. But how do we know that this is God's word? How do we know that? Where can we prove that? Where can we prove that God gave this as his word? How do we know? Because the preacher told us? Does that make it true? Is it because King James told us? Does that make it true? Where do we find the proof? And this is what we're after today. The proof, the truth. Truth is absolute. And that's what we're going to come with today. See, so we got to understand, we got to know this because we've been lost in this book. So it's time that we be awakened. This is the time that you and I wake up to this book and what it has done to us. Now, we calling ourselves the children of Israel. That's what some of us claim, not knowing that Israel is not even a good name. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad say Israel is not even a good name. And what the Bible teaches us, a good name is better than gold. So if Israel is not a good name, and a good name is better than gold, get yourself a good name, brothers and sisters. You should want a good name. Now, it's just like Jacob was rebellious and he wrestled with the angel, so today you see the Israelites rebellious, wrestling with people of God, the God's people. What do? Stand on the corner, wrestle with everybody, trying to force you into their belief. That's what they're doing. They out there on the street corner harassing people walking to and fro with a loudspeaker, screaming at people, trying to force you to believe what they believe. Just like who they call their father, Jacob, Yaqub, which they don't understand fully. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us that Yaqub is the father and the maker of the white race. That's right. They were grafted through a grafting process, which took 600 years to make. But it was a grafting process that brought them about. He is the father of Israel. So that's why they are called children of Israel. Israel is Jacob, right? Yaqub. Now, I would love to go into that story for you today, but that's a lengthy story, and we will get into that at some point. Because you need to know. We need to know this today. Why do we need to know these things? In order for you to make a decision, you have to know. If you only have one choice out there, you're going to choose that every time because there's no other choice. This is why we're giving you an alternative to what you've been given. Islam is an alternative to what you've already been given. So you can choose, you can make a choice, a decision. This is why we're here teaching this to you today. So you can look at the two and choose, make your choice. We're not here to force it on you. You have to choose willingly on your own. But you have to make a choice between one or the other. You have to go one way or the other. You can't choose both, because just as the Bible teaches you can't serve two masters. You'll love one and hate the other. You'll love one and you'll hate the other. You can't serve two, because one gonna say this against this one. So what are you gonna do? You're gonna have to choose. Well, I like what they're saying against this one, so you're gonna be on this side against this one. You can't serve the two. So these are things that we need to know, brothers and sisters. Some of us are out here calling ourselves what's that other there's another group we're calling ourselves it's a spin-off of Islam, Christianity, Hebrew Israelites, all mashed up into one. Dr. York came up with. But we are all over the place as brothers and sisters. We are all over the place because a lot of things sound good to us. We're attracted to all of this fancy talk. Good speeches draw us and attract us. But here we are standing with the truth. The truth should attract you. You should want the truth. Why do you want all of this fancy sounding stuff? They taking you into mysticism and spookism. Some of our people call ourselves Moors. Now, Moors, that's close, they're Muslims. However, I want to tell my people, you're not Moors. Moors is a nationality. A nationality. What Allah came to give you supersedes nationality. You know what you are, brothers and sisters? You're not Hebrew Israelites. You're not Moors. You're not, I wish I could remember the brothers, Dr. York's group. However, you're not any of that. You're not Christians. What you are the original man and woman. The original. The original means the first. The original, the beginning starts with you and I. We are from the first. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that God taught him that we are the Asiatic Black nation. We are members of the Asiatic Black nation. We are descendants, direct descendants of God, the children of God, the true children of God. He said that we were the first people under the sun. Think about this. Asiatic, what does that mean? That means it don't matter where you at on this planet Earth. The whole earth belongs to you and I. It belongs to you and I. It was made for us. So no matter where we are on this planet, whether we in Asia, Africa, Russia, China, South America, the islands, it don't matter where we at. It's our home. So we don't have to go by any of these titles that was given to us by the white man to divide us. Those were titles given to us to separate us. So we would look at each other like we were not the same people. You can't tell me them people in Africa are not our people. In any of them countries, those are our people. They look like us. We have a little different features, but that's just because of the place of a part of the planet that we living on, but all over the world. You can't tell me. We are people. But these names were given to us to divide us. Africa was never called Africa before it was given to us by the white man. History teaches us that. Egypt. Egypt is a Greek word. That's not our original name. We got to wake up. This is why we need to know this. We need a knowledge of self. And Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us we need a thorough knowledge of self, not just a knowledge of self, a thorough knowledge of self. Taking us back, he took us back to the beginning. Taught us we were the first people under the sun. So we don't have to go by all of these nationalities anymore. We are the Asiatic Black nation. We are members of the God tribe of Shabazz. And there's a nice, beautiful story on that. So that supersedes nationality. You got people telling you, oh, well, what's your nationality? I don't need no nationality, brother. The whole world belongs to us. What do we look like calling ourselves Americans, Africans, all of these different names when we are the Asiatic Black man? No matter where we at on this planet, it belongs to us. It's ours. So we need today a thorough knowledge of self. We need that today. You are the true children of God. You need to know that. Why is it important? Because God come to reclaim and redeem what's his. You read it in the scripture. Like I said, this book is a book of prophecy. And it prophesies all through this Bible on God's people. God saving his people. Is that right? This is why you need to know this today. So you can be one in that number of people who will save, who will be saved and redeemed. And being that you are the first, that means everyone else came after you, came from you. All nations come from the Black man and woman. And that's a fact. Scientifically, it can be proven. It has already been proven. The scientists of today will not argue with you on that matter. They know for a fact that all nations come from the Black man and woman. It's a fact. If you look at your family today, if you are 100% Black, meaning your mother and your father are Black, and your grandparents are Black, and you look through your whole family, you're going to see different shades of people in your family. Is that right? You go back generations of your family, you're going to see different shades, right? See, here's a known fact that it takes 2 Black people to produce a Black baby. You can't take 2 of any other color and make a Black baby, right? You can't take 2 white people and make a Black baby. You can't take 2 Asians and make a Black baby. You can't take 2 Mexicans and make a Black baby, right? But you can take 2 Black people, make a red baby, a yellow baby, a white baby. Because inside of us, we contain the dominant gene that can produce all of these shades, proving that we are the mothers and fathers of civilization. Study history. Farther back in history you go, you're going to find who? Think about that. The farther back in history, you're going to find who? Don't believe me? Do your research. Go searching. The black man and woman here in America needs to know knowledge of self and what else? Knowledge of God. We need to know a knowledge of God because we have been deceived. We have been taught that God was something that did not exist. As I said my last lecture, I taught on God being or the belief in a God that didn't exist. And you got to be honest with yourself. You can't truly say that you believe in God or you know God if you don't know what God is and who God is. If I ask you, who is God? And your answer is, he's the Most High. Okay, but that's not telling me who God is, right? If I walk into a restaurant and I ask the waiter, who's the manager? Do you think he's going to say, oh, he's the person who is in charge of the shift and the crew and everything that goes on in the... No, he's going to say, oh, that's this gentleman over here, or I'll go get the manager. And he's going to present to me the manager. Is that right? So how come when I ask a person, who is God? They can't give me that answer. Direct me to God. All of these people who have a belief in God but don't know God is lying to themselves. And if they teaching it, they lying to you too. That's right. And that even includes some Muslims, because we have Muslims today teaching the same teachings that all the others are teaching you a false God. Have you looking up in the sky, don't know what you praying to. But in your mind, you have a picture of a man. Some of you are praying to a white man in your head. When you close your eyes and pray, you're praying to that picture you have on the wall with a white Jesus. That right? But you don't know that. Is Jesus white? Have you ever asked that question? See, it's funny how people attack Islam and the Nation of Islam and what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad has taught. They attack us, but they never attack what they believe. The Hebrew Israelites are out here attacking us, saying this is a false religion. We pray to a false God, but they have never produced a God for you. Go ask them, well, who is God? Tell them to produce a God for you, show you who God is. If they can't show you who God is, then that means they don't know. And if they don't know, why are they out there teaching it? How can you teach a man something that you do not know? If I've never seen a screwdriver before in my life, never seen one, and I couldn't show you, I couldn't point one out in a hardware store. But I'm over here teaching you about the screwdriver. What that make me? We got to think, brothers and sisters, it's time to wake up. We are asleep. And these false prophets and teachers are out here putting you further into sleep. They digging you further into the grave. And you don't even realize it because you're going off a belief system. We are not here to teach you in the Nation of Islam a belief system. We're here to teach you the truth. The truth. We are done with the belief system. We don't want to believe in something that is not true. We want the truth. We want to know today. And as I said in my last lecture, knowing, knowledge, the root word of knowledge is to know. You have to know a thing in order for you to consider yourself with knowledge or knowledgeable. You have to know about it. These men out here ain't got no knowledge. They guessing and they teaching you on something they know not. They don't know God. And they sit here and condemn and throw stones at us that know. We stand here today telling you the truth. We're not guessing at nothing. Who is God? I ask each and every one of you to think about this and ask yourself, who is God? Now, when you're done asking yourself that, if your answer is you don't know, you need to question that which you believe in. This is serious, brothers and sisters. This is your salvation you're playing with. Here it is. We're at the end of time. You see everything happening, and it's for a reason. You know deep down inside, you feel it. Something big is happening. Scriptures are being fulfilled. Prophecy is being fulfilled. But you don't know what God you serving. You don't even know if you praying to God. If God was to come back to you, many of us believe God is going to return, right? In Christianity, they teach you God is going to return, right? The Hebrew Israelites are teaching that God's going to return, right? The Orthodox Muslims are teaching God's going to return, right? What God are they looking for? Who? Who is God? And how are they going to know who he is if they don't know who to look for? In Psalms, we're gonna go. Let's go take a read real quick. Y'all walk with me down the Bible Avenue. Okay, we're gonna look at this thing here. Now, it say in Psalms 80. In Psalms 82, verse 6, it reads here, says, I have said, ye are gods, and all you have, and all you are children of the Most High. Ye are gods, and you are all children of the Most High. I want you to really think about this. When we say God is a man, y'all ridicule us for that. Y'all try to say we're blasphemy. We teaching blasphemy. Well, I say to you, prove to me that God is not a man. Prove to me that this God that you worship that's up there somewhere in the sky, in the clouds, in space somewhere, in a place called heaven with streets paved with gold. I don't know what spirits need streets for. If they float everywhere, what they need streets for, and a throne where God sit at a throne. What do a spirit need a throne for? And a crown. But anyway, you prove to me that that exists. And I'll prove to you you're a liar. And I also prove to you that man is God. It's really not hard to believe when you really understand what God is. What is God? See, this is the thing that got many of us confused because we don't know what God is. You got to know today what God is and who God is. We need to know this today. But this is part of our decision, as I mentioned before. We're going to have to choose. We're going to have to make that choice. And in order to make a good choice, you got to have the two choices up there to choose from. You got to have choices to choose from, right? We're in the day of decision, brothers and sisters. God is man. And if you go to John chapter 10, verse 33 and 34, Jesus also repeats exactly what it says in Psalms. So, teaching us that we are children of God. So, if we're children of God and we're flesh and blood, what does that make God? We are what our Father is. Now, What black people need to know: the devil. This one's gonna be the one that a lot of people don't like. They don't like to hear this truth. You know, many of you can deal with the black man being, or God being, a man. But when we talk about the devil, many of you don't like to hear that. But it's only the truth. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that Almighty God Allah, who came in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, to whom all praises is due forever, taught him the reality, not only who we are, the reality of who God is, what God is, the reality of what and who the devil is. That's right, brothers and sisters. The devil is a man as well, just as God is. Couldn't be nothing else. Y'all over here trying to rebuke a spirit y'all think floating around out here, jumping in and out of bodies. Just jumping in and out of bodies, making people do things they don't want to do. If that's the case, then why would God need to judge you? Ask yourself this: if that devil that you believed in, that's the spirit jumping in and out of bodies, is causing people to do devilish things, then why is God judging you? Why do you need to be judged? He should judge that spirit. If the spirit is jumping into you doing all these things, then the spirit needs to be judged. Is that right? But no, you and I will be judged for what we do. So let's think. See, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was taught or given a teaching to wake us up, cause us to start thinking. We can see now. We know the truth. That spirit spookism is fake. It's not real, brothers and sisters. Ain't no spirit floating around, jumping in and out of people, making nobody do nothing that they don't want to do. We are doing it off of our own decision. And guess who's doing the tempting and causing us to do these things? It's a man. That's right. Did a man produce guns so you can go out and shoot people with them, commit murder with them? Was it a spirit that did that? Did a spirit produce drugs? Did the spirit fall in have a laboratory somewhere, produce drugs? No. It was a man. These are all done by the thoughts and the actions of a man. Now, what man we talking about, Brother Daniel? What man do we consider the devil? They say, because all men do evil. That's true. You can find somebody doing wickedness in every shade of people, every race of people. However, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us to go to the root cause of a thing. Why the root cause? Because that's where you find a cure, at the root of a cause. See, you can't cure nothing if you don't know what's causing it. I'm going to give you an example. Cancer. The reason why you can't cure cancer, you can take cancer and cut it out. But as long, it'll come right back. If you notice anybody who had cancer and got it cut out, it came right back. Why? Because they didn't go to the root cause. The cause, what's causing it? Because you can take it out today, but if you're still doing the same things that caused you to get it in the first place, you're going to get it again. Is that right? That's common sense, brothers and sisters. It's common sense. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us the root cause of a thing. We have to go to the root in order to fix our problems. And he teaches us the root of all of our problems. And one in particular is this devil. He took us to the root of this devil. That's right, the root of this devil. He said that this devil is a man. And not only is he a man, he only been on the earth for 6,000 years, just as it was prophesied that he would be. He would be given 6,000 years to rule. That right? And his number was 666, right? 66, 666. There's a lot to go into on that. Ooh, and I'm out of time on that. I can't go into all of it, but I want you to understand, because this is something that we need to know today. We must know this truth. Who is this devil? Why do we call the white man the devil? Why? Is it because of slavery? No. Though that was devilish. That was devilish. But the Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us, first of all, what a devil is. What is a devil? The Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us that a devil is something grafted out of its original. Just like you have fruit. They call it devil fruit because it was grafted from another fruit, made into something else. They were a grafted people, made from the black man. And this comes from Yaqub, Jacob. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us that the children of Israel represents the entire white race. That's who the children of Israel are. And here we are, black people walking around here calling ourselves Israelites. Israel represents the entire white race. And it can be proven. They claim that all of them. There's a book you can go and read. Brother Ahmad El-Shabazz had put it in one of his latest videos. Assalamu alaikum to my brother minister. And I can't remember the name of this book, but I will get it next time, and I'll present it. But in the book, they even describe that all of them are Jews. Now, back to this devil. They are grafted people. That's right. And if you go study their history, you will never find them past 6,000 years. They weren't here during the making of the pyramids. No, they weren't. You can't find them there. They know it. This is why they're the only curious people on the planet going around the world searching and digging up old fossils and bones, because they want to find themselves. And all they keep digging up is us. They don't have a history past 6,600, a little over 6,600 years. Now, we have to know this, brothers and sisters. We need to know this. Now, this doesn't mean that, go out there and start hating all of them. No. When we say the devil, we're talking about their nature, how they were produced. Just mentioned they were grafted. And being grafted out of the original, they were no longer the original. They were grafted into something else, which is the opposite of their original. They're the opposite. Now, not all of them are out to tempt you and do all the foul things to you, because they don't know their nature. Many of them don't know their nature, just like you and I don't know ours. Many of us don't know who we are. Many of them don't know their history, their true history. Though they know who they are, they don't know who and what they are, if that makes sense. And then you have those that do. There are quite a few of them that do. And those are the ones ruling, you see at the top, because that's what they were made to do. I would love to go into their history. And matter of fact, I believe my next lecture that I'm going to do on that subject, the devil, so you can get a better understanding. Because we're running out of time, and I believe that's my time. But, these are things we must know, brothers and sisters. We have been lied to. We have been tricked. We have been deceived. And it's time that we know the truth. Why? Because it's judgment. We're in the time of judgment. And the destruction is following. We're in the midst of destruction right now. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us that Allah will destroy America by degrees. And we see it happening by degrees, but eventually it's going to be a final destruction that's coming. And we have to prepare ourselves, because as the Bible teaches you and I, that God is going to destroy this world and make a new world. He's going to destroy these people and make a new people, a new heaven and a new earth. Is that right? Now, this is why it's spoken of in the Bible, the chosen, God's selected, God's elected, or the chosen people of God. God is choosing a people to build a new world and a new heaven with. He's hand selecting, choosing which ones he wants, which ones are right, which ones are good enough that he can build this new world with. And those are going to be the ones that accept the truth and apply it to their lives. He's not going to take anyone else. Everyone else will be destroyed, fuel for the fire. So it's important that you and I get this truth so we can make a decision and we can work on ourselves so we may be selected to be in the new world. Because all of this other stuff is not going to go. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us there won't be one Christian in the hereafter. Not one. Because Christianity is a false religion. They teach you to worship a false God. They teach you to do ritualistic, you're doing wicked rituals and don't even realize it. They got you drinking the blood. You're doing a blood ritual and don't even know it. They got you doing these rituals where you drinking Jesus's blood and eating his flesh. What does that sound like to you, brothers and sisters? Do that sound righteous? Why would God, a righteous God, have you, his people, doing that? He destroyed civilizations for stuff like that. Is that right? But here we are going around here practicing these things and to have no knowledge of it. You say, oh, we eating the flesh of Jesus and drinking his blood. My God. We have to wake up, brothers and sisters. This is serious. Think about what you're doing. You're playing with your salvation and don't even know it. And now the truth is here. You heard it today. Now you can take it or leave it alone. That's up to you. But you heard it today, so you have no excuse. You can't say, oh, I didn't know. When the destruction comes, you can't say, oh, hey, I didn't know. No, you knew. You chose otherwise. You chose to discard the truth and hold on to that deceiving lie. Now, I'm pleading with you, brothers and sisters, to wake up. It's not hard to figure these things out. It's right in our face. Many of you have already had it in your mind the whole time. You just couldn't quite grab onto it. But this truth right here that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad given us is that truth that will get you to let it go, to finally grab on to what you already knew was the truth. Now, I'm going to go ahead and conclude today's lecture. I hope and I pray to Allah that someone has gotten some truth out of what was taught today. And I pray that you come back and learn more, because there is so much to learn. And there are so many things that we are doing that need to be done. We need you just like you need us. We need each other in this time. So I thank you all for your attendance, and I thank you all for your patience and your time, as we know how important time is. So I won't take up any more of your time today. I do ask that you invite a friend next time. Bring somebody with you. This is an important message that needs to get out to our people. It's important. Bring them to the temple. Contact us. There will be some information provided here shortly after we close this meeting out. And we have a contact number where you can reach out to us. And for those of you who would like to donate to help us push this program, because we don't get help from the government. We don't get help from the city, the state, nor the federal. They don't help us because they don't want this truth to be told. So they're not going to help us in our mission. So we have to rely on our people, you know. And for those of you who would like to help us and donate, you can donate to our Cash App, which would be $M as in money, T as in time, United. And that's MT United. I thank you all again. And we're going to go ahead and, as always, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us we open and close all of our meetings in prayer. So at this time, I ask that you all stand in the position of prayer, please. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, all praises due to Allah, the Lord of all the worlds, the Beneficent, the most merciful Master and Savior of this day of judgment in which we now live. To thee alone do we serve, and to thee alone do we beseech for thine aid. O Allah, guide us along the right path, the path of those upon whom thou hast bestowed favor, and not on the path of those upon whom thy wrath is brought down, nor of those who have gone astray after they have heard thy teachings. Say, He, Allah, is one God. Allah is He of whom nothing is independent, but upon whom we all depend. He neither begets nor is He begotten, and there is none like Him. And I bear witness that there is none to be served or worshipped beside thee, Master Farad Muhammad. And I bear witness that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is thy true servant and last apostle to we, the lost and found members here in America and all over the world. Ameen. All right, brothers and sisters, again, we thank you for attending, and may the peace and blessings of Allah be with you all. I leave you all in the same words I greeted you in a language, in a beautiful Arabic language of peace and paradise. Assalamu alaikum.
If you believe what you are taught today on Islam is true, and you would like to learn more, or you are ready to accept and reclaim your own, contact the Lost Found Nation of Islam Muhammad's Temple United at 623-312-4352. Again, that's 623-312-4352. We thank you for joining us today, and we ask that you return next Sunday and invite your family and friends. We ask your support so that we may continue to get the truth out to our people. You may contribute by donating to our Cash App at $MT United. That's $MT United.
The Lost and Found Nation of Islam, Muhammad's Temple United, is seeking to unite with all of the believers in temples across the country. If you are a member or a part of a temple, or if you have a temple, contact us and let us unite one nation under one way of life, Islam as taught by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Don't see your city or state? Let's change that. Let's unite and put your temple on the map of unity. Let us not come together in unity in belief only, but let us come together and unify as one in practice. The time is now, black man and woman. Your nation awaits you. Assalamu alaikum.